Chris, I'm a little bit worried about your father. He's been coughing a lot. Zaslow is roaming around the premises here. He's he would never admit that being face-to-face with Zaslow would be a thing because he's a longtime newspaper guy and radio. You know, Zaslow's just a radio foof. But Zaslow's here, and he's not happy. And your father has already begun his coughing. And so I told him, do you want to switch seats with Zaslow where you have a cough button? He's like, no, I've got it under control. And I'm like, really, Greg? You've never had this under control. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee anything. And I'm like, I'm really worried about this cough in the first segment because this is an important show we're doing. There haven't been a lot of shows like this in our history, and your father has already begun coughing. What do I do about this?
Well, the great ones, they tell their body, not today. And so rest assured, I have the control over my own body. I will not cough today.
You've passed out twice trying to prevent coughing, once at Highlight. You've passed out trying to stop coughing.
That's true.
He's
2-3 times,
he's a guy, though, he's staying who he is in the most critical times. Like, if he came in here today and wasn't coughing, that would be alarming. Like, he's a cougher. He's coughing today. What do you want from him?
Yeah, that's a point.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right. Let him be who he is.
Just like we need Bob to be just like who he is.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
My friends hate me.
This is the fake pregame show
Our Panther group chat, we're confident against the Lightning.
with Dan Le Batard.
The better the fear, the better the fulfillment after you conquer the fear.
Jonathan Zaslow.
I'm telling you, if the Panthers don't win this series, I'll never forgive Greg Cody. It's a million times worse than the Trade Marino article. I will never forgive him.
And the shit stirrer himself, Greg Cody.
Look overrated.
Fake pregame show.
For weeks, I wondered aloud what Kevin Stenlund did. And then about 3 weeks ago, it hit me. He gives him one of these, and he gives him one of those. I'll give him one of these, and I'll give him one of those.
Here comes Krebs down the right side. He's got Strassens with him. Krebs fires the shot. Rebound, they score! Pour some sugar on me.
World War III.
We're going to get that off the ground.
World War III, our group chat has a pretty good feeling about this one.
Stugotz is at a dead show.
Is there any chance that Greg Cody might be a little bit right about what he wrote about Connor McDavid?
No. Zero.
That is actually funny. That's a headline grabber. I don't know how anybody could call Connor McDavid overrated.
Connor McDavid is the real deal. Anybody who says any different has never played against him. And no offense to your coach, you've never played against Connor McDavid.
Big pregame show.
He probably plays, 7-8 minutes a game?
7-8. What?
Oh, Greg.
I mean,
How many minutes does Connor
I think at some point, I don't have to say anything.
And I choke him like this. All right, I choke him like this. I'll give him. Oh, yeah. I believe you.
Some people are saying here there should be an option to decline a penalty and a power play.
It's the biggest game in Florida Panthers history. Scared shitless.
Let's go, baby!
I care more about Matthew Tkachuk than I do my daughter.
fake pregame show.
Look overrated. This guy comes in as the next Wayne Gretzky. His nicknames include the Chosen One and McJesus.
And this is coming from a guy that's watched Connor play 6 times.
Right. If that.
Puck drop is 11 hours away. But the fake pregame show starts now.
I am unusually fired up for a number of different reasons. We've got mustachioed, coughing Greg Cody in here, face-to-face with Zaslow, 2 legitimate South Florida media legends. The original gangster, Greg. Greg, I'm worried about you. Do not stifle those coughs. Let them go. Just let them fly.
All right, don't make me laugh then. Quit referring to me as mustachioed.
Well, your mustache looks ridiculous. You've been growing it for 10 days.
Yeah.
Zaslow is legitimately enraged with you, and we've brought him in to pacify that baby, Mike Ryan. I come in here today, and he's like, you should be thanking me for protecting your ass. To pacify this baby, Mike Ryan, who wants to talk with a real Florida Panthers fan deep in the weeds on all the important hockey things that need to be discussed today. And Zaslow is legitimately disgusted with you.
Sure. Yeah, he's trying to stare me down.
No, he's not trying to stare you down. He is successfully staring you down. We will get to him in a second because he is fired up. So I love that I'm here with 2 old friends and that we've got this tension in the room to play with. But the thing I'm more excited about is that the next few days have a chance to create generational sports fandom in this town for a sport, not unlike it happened in Tampa, because everyone can fall in love with this team the very best way, because it beats the best at its best in the biggest moment. It's a giant hockey time in this town, and I can count on one hand the number of teams that I have truly loved in this market, truly loved, and there is only one of them among that group that didn't win the championship. It was the 96 Panthers, a team not as good as this one, that taught me and my father about hockey. My father was weeping in the stands, getting swept in the final, and he thought the puck was made of metal because this sport is the best this time of year. That team was not as good as this one. But what that team taught me in going through the Boston Bruins and Eric Lindros and 2 McDavids, Yager and Lemieux, is that the best team wins this time of year, not a team with one player, not a team with one guy who's better than everyone else. But this guy's so good that he can take you down and he can make you a laughingstock from up 3-0 because he's that good. And I am scared shitless, but I also believe in this team. I believe in its ability to be better in the third period than other teams. So let's get to the tension of the day. Zaslow against Greg Cody, because, Greg, I can see you squirming around. I don't blame you. Zaslow, the floor is yours. Tell the people why it is that you're so mad at Greg Cody.
All right, hey, guys. Sorry.
That was a hell of a stare down. You would have won the stare down Olympics on the Greg Cody show featuring Greg Cody.
I blacked out for a couple minutes.
Yeah,
sorry.
Doesn't a stare down require 2 people looking at each other?
Well, you were looking away.
I forgot Zaz was in the room.
Listen, all right. Greg, this is the first time I've ever been in studio with Greg, right? First time ever.
You have not liked Greg Cody's columns for a long time.
Well, I don't have to. He doesn't have to like my shows. I don't have to like it. It doesn't mean I dislike all of them, but I don't have to like all his columns. He doesn't have to like all my shows. That's nothing personal. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. And here's the thing, Greg. All right, and please, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. Okay, if the Panthers lose this series, you're going to be remembered for this. People are going to be so angry. They are going to remember you for this. You've had a great career here, all right? A legendary writer for the Miami Herald. And that should be your legacy. That should be what everybody remembers one day. Wow, Greg Cody, amazing writer, represented the Herald and South Florida. But if the Panthers lose, they're going to remember you for this. And you shouldn't be remembered for this. You should not be remembered for the Panthers losing. You should be remembered for saying Marino should have been traded.
Okay.
Not this.
Yeah. There's two people on earth who are going to blame me if the Panthers lose this series, Zaslow and Mike Ryan. Because what an ultimate conceit to think that anything I wrote, and by the way, it wasn't a whole column, it was 2 paragraphs in a column, to think that has a scintilla of effect on the outcome of this series is beyond the pale of ridiculous. Beyond the pale of ridiculous. It's anti-logic, it's anti-intellect. Superstition is in thin air. You're choosing to be superstitious. You're choosing to believe in jinxes. None of it matters. What matters more is if a fourth line Panther falls asleep for 5 seconds and gives up a goal tonight. Look, Mike Ryan has super fans. Zaslow and Mike Ryan have zero effect on their team winning. What a writer writes has zero effect on a series. To think otherwise is just patently absurd.
But it can't help.
Well, that's my point. That's my point right there. I don't even disagree with the things that you're saying, okay? What you're saying is completely logical, all right? But saying what you said about McDavid, it's not going to help the situation. It could only hurt, and we know that it got back to him.
Okay.
Connor McDavid's father knows. You think Connor McDavid's father's keeping a secret at this point? He definitely called his son up and said, hey, listen, son, I know you got some things on your mind, but there's this Greg Cote who's down in South Florida, says you're overrated. What are you going to do about it? Now, maybe he doesn't do anything about it, but maybe he does do something about it,
right.
all right?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll woke a sleeping giant. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what happened?
The bear.
Yeah, when Dad and Connor were speaking, the way that conversation ended was, you know what, Dad? I wasn't particularly excited about this series. I mean, it's my first final ever, and winning it is going to take such a burden off me. It's the biggest series of my entire life, but I needed that little extra incentive from a Miami writer I'd never heard of calling me overrated. Now I'm ready to do something.
He had 1 point, though, through the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Maybe he said, listen, it's bad enough to lose the Stanley Cup final. I also don't want Greg Cote to end up being right. So look at you now. Games 4 and Game 5. He's the best player you've ever seen. Maybe it did wake a sleeping giant.
I wrote what I wrote.
Maybe it didn't, but maybe it did.
I wrote what I wrote before the series. So what happened in those first 3 games?
He was the leading point scorer.
Yeah, and they were 0-3. Which
and then you started planting billboards around town.
Not me.
Yeah. Then you started planting billboards around town. Get on your hands and knees and thank me for saving your legacy.
Yeah, you know
do
what?
it right now, both of you.
Can I say
you
something real quick,
and the
too?
clown in the hat.
Has anyone thanked...
Not Zaslow.
Has anyone thanked Mike Ryan yet? And also, has anyone thanked him for making sure that billboards don't go up before the series over? Has anyone thanked him?
I haven't decided if they're not going up or not.
Well, they're not up yet.
No, but they're not. But there's another weekend to think about it if they lose tonight.
Are you serious, man? You guys are assholes. You guys are assholes. This matters. This matters to me.
This is my life.
This matters to him.
This
matters to him. This matters to him. And you're making a joke of it.
Don't screw with my life.
You would never do this to other franchises. You're showing your ignorance because it's hockey.
Mike,
you would
Mike,
never.
You
know how I know you would never do it? Because you've never done it before.
No. You said, this is one of the arguments you made that's infuriating, okay? You said the Panthers would think it's classless. I got suspended at ESPN. You think what I did there, the Heat thought was classy? Do you think that what I did there to get suspended from ESPN, do you think the Heat was like, that's a classy move, what Dan's doing, getting suspended there?
They liked it. They were bitter.
I'm
Their
in-
own president said smiling faces, hidden agendas. Are
I'm
you kidding
in-
me?
I'm in-
You waited till after he left. You didn't do it in the middle
I'm
of the
in reruns on this. It's an old joke. I've already made it. I'm hoping nobody notices.
You never actively tried
Not
to
before
celebrate a championship before it's been won. You never did that. Rants notwithstanding, you have never, with your team up 3-0, tried to put up billboards. You should be thanking me.
The billboards-
Because you know how much different your life would be after the last 2 games if those billboards were up.
No.
We're talking national controversy. We're talking the greatest mush of all time.
Wait a minute. You're talking national controversy? Please, let's get on the screen the video I've enjoyed so much the last couple of days of how I've gotten dragged into national controversy. Show me Steve Levy at his maximum Steve Levy doing television ever so graceful. Tan too much from the Boca Beach Club and pointing to the camera with his left hand because he doesn't even need his dominant hand to be great at television.
Connor McDavid saying it now, and he's doing it on the biggest stage. Buckle up.
Yeah, I'm buckled already.
Don't get me going. He's all world, this guy.
I think overrated. Wait, did someone say overrated? What's going on? Dan Le Batard.
Oh, please, no national controversy. Don't give me any of that. Please, don't give me any of that.
So you're doing this for attention because it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't. You're just an attention-seeking charlatan. That's what you are. You are way worse than him. He's an idiot. No one took him seriously. They had a week to draw up a storyline. No one gives a shit. They talked about it because they had a week and they moved on. You are pouring gasoline on this idiot.
This is really taking a turn.
He said he played 7 minutes a game. No one took him seriously.
Greg is mad. Greg is legitimately mad now, and I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen.
You know, somebody, for Mike's next birthday, somebody ought to buy him a giant wooden cross because the burden you bear, the burden you have to bear as the self-appointed world's biggest Panthers fan, who apparently has already given up on his team.
That's right.
See,
that's the part. That's the part that infuriates me.
Shove this crucifix up your ass.
You have given up on your team.
Because I am not the self-proclaimed biggest Panther fan. I am one of 6.
You're a fake.
I am one of 6.
You're a fake Panthers fan who has already given up on his team.
Shut up. You're a fake columnist. You're a fake sports expert. If you thought he played 7 minutes a game.
If you believed in the Panthers, you would not be nearly as upset right now. I would want to be
I believe in the Panthers, but I also believe you guys have made a mockery of this. And you're doing it again, against my wishes. You got all this shit going on behind me. We're spending 12 minutes on the top talking about you guys, which is all you wanted, and it's all you love.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
You don't? We've spent 2 weeks on it.
I wrote 2 paragraphs on Connor McDavid, okay? And the idea that I wrote this for clicks, let me bring you into the analytics a little bit. I have written 3 columns this month that have been more read than the Connor McDavid column, which ranks for the year. The year's not even half over. That is the 19th most read column I have written. The idea that I wrote 2 paragraphs. What did that say?
Stat of the day.
Well,
it was my father singing.
Okay, I thought I heard Poppy.
Bring some levity to this room.
Unnecessary stat. Is like,
it was weird. It was weird. Not that this is about clicks. That was my 19th rated click column.
I want people to know that I didn't write this.
Which one was the 12th rated?
I could tell you if you want me to.
Please look it up.
No,
please.
I don't. Not surprising that we would go to the depths of your self-involvement. Zaslow, please. I don't want to talk about his columns, and I don't actually. I do want to talk about this game and this next couple of days because I do believe in this team. Why would you not?
I believe very much. I think it's going to end tonight. I believe very much in this team. It's just this is my life. There's so much stress that guys like me. First of all, I need this thing to end tonight. I really do. It's consuming my life. It's all I think about. All day long, every day, it's all I think about. I can't sleep at night. You think I want to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Stuart Skinner? I don't care to think about these people. I need this series to end tonight, and I don't want the mockery. Again, everything that you said, Greg, is completely logical, but all the logic doesn't matter with my feelings involved right now. I watch these games, Greg. I'm on the verge of projectile vomit for 60 minutes, all right? And I don't want to hear about Connor McDavid being overrated, and then we happen to know that it got back to Connor McDavid. Like, if I said something about Connor McDavid right now, he's never going to know about it. He knows what you said. Maybe he decided to try a little bit harder.
Oh,
I don't know.
on.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
I don't know. No, that's the point.
Try a little bit harder
He's
in
not
the
gonna
final?
He's not going to try less. That's for sure. Maybe he winds up trying harder.
Can't deny that.
Rack him.
I don't know.
Rack him.
I don't know. I'm trying to win a Stanley Cup here. I don't want to hear about Connor McDavid being overrated. Here's the thing. Panther fans, all right, like myself and like Mike Ryan and like the great Roy Bellamy, who, by the way, was on my show yesterday. He was phenomenal. He was in the car on the way to Edmonton. What a terrible trip.
Good get for you.
Super long-time Panther fans, we've been waiting our entire life for this series, for tonight.
Right.
And instead, in the middle of the series, you're right smack in the middle of it. I wasn't thinking about that 20 years ago. You know what? The next time the Panthers have a shot here, Greg Cody's going to be the main conversation. I mean, that's not what I was planning on.
I'm the main conversation because you and Mike Ryan are acting like...
you're the main conversation because the dude in the middle. Because the dude in the middle.
Greg, what'd you text me yesterday about the podcast? Our podcast.
It's doing good numbers.
There's your stat.
Okay. And I don't think I even mentioned Connor McDavid in my last podcast. Did I?
You did an emergency podcast episode.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Response to Canada.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to keep covering recycled ground because I do want to talk about the game, but I cannot abide Mike Ryan with the Steve Levy left hand pointing at me and saying that this is my fault when I was off that week.
Yeah.
I was simply off that week, and when I came back, they were up 3-0. You cannot blame me for anything here.
Well, guess who's back and ruined everything? Wow. Where's your hot dog costume? Because we're all trying to find out who did this.
You just pointed it out. Like, can you go back to where you were when we were up 3-0?
Scram! Skedaddle!
This is not adult behavior. It's childish
This
behavior.
is sports. It is childish behavior.
This is completely appropriate.
Yeah, that's how
behavior.
sports work, man.
You know the Stanley Cup can be won tonight? This is completely appropriate
Do you think
behavior.
this is a game?
Yes, like, what do we do if we win a championship? We pour drinks on one another and we have a parade. This is childish.
He thinks this is a game.
He does. He's playing with our emotions, and Dan is also playing with our emotions because, admittedly, he hasn't cared since 1996. He told you himself.
No.
Stop fucking with my life.
What I said was, don't misquote me. I'm not going to allow you to misquote me. What I said was that in my lifetime, I think there are 5 teams in this market that I have truly fallen in love with for a variety of different circumstances that I won't bore you with here. And the only one in my lifetime, it wasn't last year's Panthers for me. It was not, because this franchise has done to me what the Marlins have done to me, which is sort of kill my soul a little bit. And I don't want to watch mediocre stuff for 30 years and keep caring. So I was late to this particular party. But they have gotten my attention because what they can do right now is bigger than what they could have done last year, even though it would have been an upset, by slaying the most giant of the giants at the end. It's not just that you took your nemesis down and that was the appetizer. You took down the deserving champion that has ruled this state and made hockey matter in Florida. You took them out after they were your nemesis. And then what you do is you take out the historic franchise that everyone in Miami hates because Boston's racist. And then you take out the New York Rangers, and we hate everybody from New York because they've come down here and infected our town with everything they do. And then who do you take out the end? The biggest, baddest giant. So don't tell me I'm not excited. I'm telling you the next 2 games are for my love. They're for my love. For me remembering
Stop saying
you.
2 games. There's 1 game for the rest
May there be a
of our
game
lives.
7 overtime so I can be so I can be
all
scared.
right,
Maximum scared.
Let me step out a bit.
Maximum scared.
Let me step out a bit for 1 second and
That's
try
not in
to
my
calmly
life coming
articulate how important this is to me. I'm scarred by the Stu Barnes trade for Chris Wells.
Oh, terrible.
After I left high school, I went straight into an organization that was on a lockout. I missed an entire season, and I worked under Michael Yormark. I saw 50 people get fired. I didn't get paid a single cent. I've seen this team go from blue to red to possibly moving to Hamilton to maybe Hank Aaron owning the team. I've seen them trade Pavel Bure after they acquired his brother. I was so excited to see that tandem. I didn't really get to see it. I've seen Todd Bertuzzi come here for Roberto Luongo, and Luongo have a Hall of Fame career. I had Mike Keenan. I shared elevators with Jacques Martin and Mike Keenan. This matters to me deeply. And it would have been fine and wonderful if I won it in 4 games. It would have been amazing. I wouldn't have felt any better if I won in 4 games or 6. But you were making a mockery of how much I care. And it was very evident to everybody how much we all cared about the Miami Heat. You don't care the same way? I get it. But I do take offense to you guys making a mockery of it. Because this is serious stuff to me because I'm a grown man child. I'm 38 years old. I want to see this. I feel like I deserve it.
Why is this a mockery?
Oh, please.
No, I'm asking you.
Please, why is this a mockery?
Yes.
What have we been talking about? A column, a throwaway line that you even added boom after because you knew what you were doing.
Right. Why is it a mockery for anybody, not just me, to have the opinion that until Connor McDavid wins a Stanley Cup, he has not lived up to the hype?
That's a valid opinion.
Okay.
All the games,
You're calling it a
all-time
mockery.
greats. Yes, because you've made a mockery since.
It was the Mick overrated.
Let me ask you something. Going into the 1991 NBA Finals, Michael Jordan never won yet. Going into the NBA Finals, would you have said Michael Jordan overrated?
I would have said it with the qualifier, until you win an NBA Finals, you have not lived up to your hype, to your potential, and that you have underachieved based on expectations. Yes, absolutely. I think that's consistent across sports. Dan Marino was a great quarterback. The fact he never won a Super Bowl matters.
You better not say. I mean,
it matters.
Come on. You better not say Marino's overrated. You better not say that.
Marino underachieved based on his.
Oh my God.
Based on his talent. Based
Did you
on
ever
his.
go to Nike Town and see the cleat he was playing with?
Did you just say he was over? Are you saying now for the first time? Are you doubling down now on also Marino is overrated? Oh my God. Are you saying that Marino is overrated? Is that what you're announcing today?
Don Shula next.
Are you
one of the
yes
problems,
or no?
I'm not going to say yes or no.
Yes or no?
Man,
Overrated.
Look who all of a sudden has respect for something.
He's never won a title.
Look, the words overrated and underachiever are incendiary, okay? In this case, perhaps they were intended to be. They certainly were attention-getting, which is part of it. I'm not going to shy away from the fact that as a writer, I love it when I write a column that becomes a conversation piece. That's a good thing, okay? This is not life and death, despite the rant you just heard from Mike Ryan. This is not life or death. This is sports.
Pretty close.
You found your lane.
As close as it can be.
You're the overrated guy now.
Look, okay.
Is Dan Marino overrated?
When you call yourself McJesus.
He didn't call himself that.
Okay,
he didn't stroll into the league and say, I'm McJesus.
That was LeBron. LeBron's the one who did
Right.
it.
LeBron, he comes into the league the king. He lived up to it
Can you
eventually.
imagine he walks into the league? I'm McJesus.
McJesus, please refer to me by that.
I'm 18 years old. I'm McJesus.
I genuinely and really do want to get to the micro about tonight's game. I can't tell you the last time I was excited about the idea of doing a pregame show because the minutia of the game is also interesting to me in hockey. It's been a long time since I've felt that. And I will say, as we're sitting here arguing among family and friends, and Greg Cody is hot right now. Like Greg Cody told me during the break.
He's mad.
He's mad. Like he's, in fact, because some people are going to be thinking that this is bit, you go ahead and tell the people what you just saw from Greg Cody during the break.
Yeah, he's mad. And I don't want you to be mad at me. I think you're a nice man, okay?
Oh, he's not mad at you.
But he's not mad at me.
He's not mad at you.
I was glad he's not mad
he's mad at Mike Ryan.
He's really mad at Mike Ryan.
He's really mad at Mike Ryan. Okay,
Likewise.
we'll get to that in just a second, and
he's
we'll
not
get
the real villain.
We'll get to the micro of the game in a second, but just macro, because I really do want to agree with Stugotz and Zaslow somewhere here on where it is that sports reaches us in the best places, in the very best places. The last 3 years, I think we can admit, around here at this company, life in America, like super, super hard, okay? For anyone listening to this for a variety of reasons, the last 3 years have been really hard. If you've been listening to this show and me falling apart, grieving, falling apart for 3 years, the last 3 years have been hard. To feel this particular medicine that takes you away from real-life problems is why sports are the giant business that they are, because people care unreasonably about this medicine that soothes them and allows them to escape during a hard time. I'm sorry that we're fighting during all of this, because this is a legitimate, lovely time, but this is what happens around sports. Everyone's falling apart, and now Greg Cody, during the break, Zaslow, you heard, he said he demands an apology from you.
That.
He said he demands an apology from you.
I demand a thank you for fighting against the billboards. I demand a thank you.
Hold on a second. How about, and this is not surprising coming from you, you don't respect your superiors because you don't think anyone is superior. He looks at you and says, I won't be called an idiot twice to my face on the air.
Well, I had Greg just say that. Greg just says
I know, but I just heard him say it.
He said that.
And he says, I demand an apology. He was telling me off air, like he's not joking. He's demanding. He's not asking for an apology. He's demanding one.
Okay.
I don't mind anyone disagreeing with anything I've written, and I'm used to it, and I have thick skin for it. And I would say if I don't read comments, social media comments. If somebody I don't even know calls me an idiot, who cares? When somebody I do know calls me an idiot twice, how about you control your emotions? No, I'm serious.
Oh, that's what I want to hear right now is calm down.
Okay.
That's what I want to hear.
I mean, your
skin is so thick you bumped into a door and started bleeding today. I don't believe you for a second. And no, I'm sorry. I've told you for 2 weeks now how this has bothered me. And when you did it, I wasn't here to check you either. So no, I will not apologize for doing something on air because you've made my entire life performative for everybody else. I care deeply. And if you want to keep running this bit and your jolly friend over there wants to keep ramping things up because you are just a member of the family and you are sitting next to Charles Manson.
Whoa. Jolly. Be careful with Jolly. That's coded.
My dad does have thin skin but thick toenails. Am I right, Dad?
Yes, you are right about that.
No, I'm not going to apologize. I
wouldn't expect you to apologize.
Good. Then
you're a giant infant.
Okay.
You have no control over your emotions. You have no control over your emotions. When you're calling someone you know an idiot, I don't deserve it.
Okay.
I don't deserve it.
All right.
And you're a fool for saying it.
Okay.
You're a fool.
Yeah. I was kind of following
you.
You're locking in right now? You're locking in on us?
Yeah,
all right. Let's drop the gloves, pal. Let's drop. You should be thanking me.
For what?
Every day.
For what?
For what I've done around this character. And the second shit gets real for you, you want to come at me and call me a fool? Huh? Yeah, no. Seriously.
Jeremy
pal. I've added 10 years to your career. You want to call me a fool?
Wait a minute.
You'd be toiling away. You'd be
added...
Michael Yormark.
Oh, no.
You owe me everything.
No.
You owe me everything.
You have added 10 years to my career?
Yes, I have.
This man has.
You
haven't.
That man.
Who the hell are you?
Tell you, I am
Who the hell are
should be
you?
thanking.
Bullshit.
Me.
You're a rude young man.
You're a fool.
You're a fool. I already called you a fool.
Right
you can't
back.
call me a
You're
fool.
an idiot again.
It's a fool
You're
off.
an idiot twice. You're an idiot for dismissing
Mike.
how much I've helped you. You are a fool.
You're nobody.
You are an infant.
You
have no
nobody
thick skin.
to me.
I literally put together
Mike
a
Ryan
freaking stage for your
is
toenail.
nobody
I
for me.
am your career right now, pal.
No.
Look at me.
No.
I am your career.
No.
You have messed with McDavid, and now you're messing with me, and I'm more dangerous, pal. So apologize
You've got
or leave.
too many pals.
This is Dan's fault again. You brought all this to air with my dad. Come on.
Yeah, he's in there muttering under his breath.
Let me outta here.
Apologize, and you go to air with it. Thank me.
No.
Thank me
This
for
is what
saving
you've
you.
done. This is what you've done.
So how about that apology?
Well, Mike did say in there, no, I'm sorry. I've told you how I felt about this for weeks. So no, I'm sorry is going to be what you get. No, I'm sorry is going to be the closest we come to an apology there. He did say the words, I'm sorry. It was just, no, I'm sorry. I've told you how I feel about this for 2 weeks.
It was me saying, no, I'm sorries.
Well, that's
No
not what it sounded.
apology.
It sounded.
There was a comma in
It
there.
sounded like.
No, I'm sorry. Zero, I'm sorry.
I do want to get to the smaller stuff here, but this is genuinely tense now. And Jeremy he was whispering.
I wrote a back in my day song on a #1 album for you.
Mike, I need you to stop with the bona fides here. Because
He does not respect what I do.
Wow.
He doesn't know what I do.
I understand you're a voice actor as well. Is that right? When you quit Meadowlark in May, you're going to become a voice actor?
Well, he's very
Wow.
close to
Good for
quitting.
you.
He's very close to quitting.
All right, not close enough.
Well, he's also close to being fired. So, we're in both places. Once he gets there he called me a dick the other day by text because he's lost his mind, as
Right.
many people have.
No, he has.
Because sports will do this to you.
Was it when did he call you a dick? Like when was it?
It was while you were losing 4-2 to Edmonton, headed into the third period.
Oh, it's a very stressful moment. Very stressful.
Just I was losing, not you.
Very stressful.
Mike can't control himself. He's an immature man. He wouldn't admit it, but there's a real immaturity to someone who calls his boss a dick, who calls a older coworker an idiot.
Older.
You just don't do that in polite society.
You should probably tell him to calm down again.
Yeah, that's never good.
I'm sure that's going to help.
Never good. Jeremy, why? Jeremy whispered in my ear like a scared
Jeremy was so
child.
scared.
Well, no, he did whisper. He's like, "Can I leave the room? I want to leave the room."
I know the feeling. I mean, seriously, it's like this is not a working condition.
You're the one that wanted to make it real. This is what happens.
What does that mean?
when
I wanted
life
to make
gets
it real.
This is what happens when people stop being fake and start being real.
I wrote 2
Good
paragraphs 3 weeks ago. I take responsibility for that. What else am I responsible for? The Panthers losing 2 in a row?
He is a writer.
Really?
right now.
He's a writer.
I love how you make it that it only 2 paragraphs kind of distances you from it. Like you still said it. Calling
Right.
him overrated in just 2 paragraphs instead
Right.
of an entire
You know what I saw
column
during
is
the
still
break?
saying
I saw
it.
T-shirts. I saw McDavid, Overrated, Greg Cody
Okay,
T-shirts.
those are not
That's all
for-
you did?
Those are not for sale in my merch store.
My point exactly. Stop fighting with me and avert your eyes and turn your attention to the real bad guy.
No, because Dan didn't call me an idiot. He's more polite than that.
To your face.
Well, I did say that my favorite part of the inside joke for only our audience, like the favorite part of the joke is that the people listening to this, when we put the billboards up, those people who listen to this show will know where the opinion came from, and so it will be all the funnier. Not that it came from an idiot, but that it's an idiotic opinion, and we all know it.
If it looks like a duck, Greg.
No, I do. I mean,
if
look.
it writes 2 paragraphs like a duck, Greg. Boom.
But me thinking that idiotic is not calling him an idiot. No, it's not. I don't.
And me screaming into this microphone, doing what I do best, better than anyone who's ever been a producer in this industry has ever done it.
Wow.
Calling you an idiot and taking it personally, shame on you. But if you want to get real, we can get real, pal. We can get real.
Another pal?
We can
That's
get
a
real.
Third pal. How
We'll
are
get
we
real.
in 3 pal
We'll get real.
territory? How is this escalated? What's Game 7 going to be like?
One of these.
No,
One of
how about
those.
we not talk about Game 7 when they're going to win it tonight? Cut that shit out. Forget about Game 7. What's Game 7 going to be like? Stop with that, all right? Tonight is going to be one of the best nights of your life. I need to hear about Game 7. When? Next year? The year after? There's not Game 7 this series. This is ending tonight. I'm going to watch my favorite little hockey team, the best hockey team in the land, that includes Canada, raise the Stanley Cup over their shoulders. You know how great it's going to feel when Sasha Barkov hands that Stanley Cup to Aaron Ekblad? Don't talk to me about Game 7. It ends tonight.
Finish him.
It's my life.
That's what you got to do to McDavid. You got to do that. But we haven't broken out the finish him in a minute, and now it's getting aggressive. It's a 3-pal situation and a finish him situation.
Finish him.
It's a 3-pal and a finish him situation on McDavid. And when you say scared shitless, I'm not scared shitless. There's plenty of shit. It's running down my leg. I'm scared of him. I'm scared of him. And I believe the best team wins in that sport.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the Panthers are the best team. It's empirical. What they do in the third period is better than anyone in the sport. I saw it coming back, even with what he did in Game 5. I saw it coming back. They were pelting Edmonton because they are championship worthy. This is the most championship worthy team I have ever seen play hockey in this market.
Go on.
No, it is. This is the best Panther team there has ever been. That's not in any way up for dispute, but it's empirical. It's not just that they're not doing it as an 8 seed last year. No, it's that they were a 100-point team all season. They play a style of play that wins this time of year. Edmonton plays a style of play that doesn't win the way this one does, but they have a player that can nuke everything. They have a single player that can nuke everything historic in hockey that happens to the best teams. And then on top of that, hockey can happen to you. Hockey can just happen to you because you hit the post a couple of times.
Hockey can happen to you if the ice is choppy. They had a Snoop Dogg concert last night.
I think that benefits the Panthers.
Probably. That's a you know,
I like
it's a tricky
that,
thing.
actually.
Bad ice is a tricky thing.
Slow it down. Slow the game down.
Bad ice is a tricky thing because you never know when it's going to pop up, and it could pop up like during a golden opportunity for you. But if I told you that the player that relies on puck handling and precision the most and is the greatest skater maybe ever, he might be the greatest, like Scott Hamilton would like a word. That's it. Like, there has never been a better skater in that sport. You'll take it. You know that you've won some grinders out there, and I think that's what tonight is going to have to be for the Panthers to win this. I don't see this being – you were talking before the show's as, and you said maybe a 6-4 final.
Well, no,
I
had
like 5.5.
I had a dream. My dream was that last night that they won 6-4. I don't think it's going to be 6-4.
You're going to have to choke the life out of this game, I think.
Yeah, but can't we just be up 3-0 after the first period?
Well, that was.
Well, we were up 3-0 after the first 3 games.
Doesn't that make everyone's life easier if they're up 3-0 after the first period tonight?
Isn't this just all? It's easy to say, but it feels like this is just all on Bob because that's the difference the last few games.
No.
If Bob is Bob, like from the first 3, we got this.
How about don't get doubled up on the special teams for the series?
Well, listen, 5-on-5, the Panthers are a better team, and I don't care who argues that. It's after that when the trouble begins. If they stay out of the penalty box, they win tonight. They win the series. All is well. People don't hate me anymore. It's perfect. If they get in the penalty box a lot,
people still hate you.
Well, they are taking chances, though, with their fourth line. They're bringing in Ryan Lomberg, who was there the last game, and I thought provided the energy that you were looking for. But Cousins, these are Ryan Lomberg and Nick Cousins are reputed to be your 2 biggest mistake makers. Nick Cousins, reputed Rat King, hothead.
Is Paul Maurice keeping Verhaeghe on the top line? Everybody switch that, right?
Yeah, Verhaeghe and Barkov had
this
this
is a Verhaeghe game. He's only had 1 goal this series.
Name.
Come on.
Say his name and he appears.
It's time to have a conversation about Carter
Say his
Verhaeghe.
name and he appears. I believe in Verhaeghe.
Carter Verhaeghe, that's my dog.
I believe in Verhaeghe.
I thought Ekblad was one of their big mistake makers.
Ekblad, too, that's my dog.
Ekblad's not a great skater. And
he's been great, though, this postseason.
He has, but the last 2 games, he had that really unfortunate thing happen to his ankle, and when this is over, we'll find out how hurt everybody is. And he's not necessarily a player that has shown you he can maintain a really good level of form if
he's going to be great tonight. He's going to be great.
I believe.
Are you a homer, Zaz? Are you like? How does this work? Like,
No,
do you ever? I know you. I know you're scared, so you're projecting confidence at every turn, but I know you're scared of it's not even the history of the Edmonton Oilers, though you could be scared of that too. This is a historic franchise now being led by the second coming of Gretzky, and you're going into a building. Let me assure you of this, okay? Edmonton's number one pride internationally is this hockey team and this player. That place cares about that player and that team in a way that gives it its name, its city name. Edmonton is known for what Gretzky did in that uniform, and now McDavid is the second coming of Gretzky. That building is going to be a total insanity.
Yeah, but this Panther team, they've been better on the road in the postseason. They don't get phased with these road crowds. The biggest problem to me with playing this game on the road tonight is not having last change. That's a major deal. We're really rarely going to be able to have Barkov and Forsling and Ekblad on the ice at the same time. Maurice has to pick one or the other.
It's a fantastic point.
So when we talk about home ice advantage, the crowd, like that shit doesn't matter. It's about not being able to get our guys on the ice all the time alongside McDavid. So that is a major disadvantage for tonight's game. That's the part that I'm most worried about. But I know our guys are going to be great tonight. I know they are.
Last change really pokes its head out.
It's
when
a big
you have
deal.
A face-off in your own zone.
Yeah, it's a big
Everything
deal.
else can be on the fly. We've seen McDavid. We've seen Knobloch send McDavid out on the ice when Barkov's not on the ice. Yep. He didn't need to be a home team to take that advantage. So you're going to have to take it where you can get it. But it can't be understated.
Like, we're going to start with the Barkov line tonight. Maurice is going to hand in his card. We're going to start with the Barkov line, and they're going to start with their second line. Like, McDavid's not going to start for Edmonton tonight because we're going to put our first line out there to begin the game, and that's where the chess match begins. Now, not that I don't trust Paul Maurice, because it's amazing that I was calling him all year last year the murderer of fun, and I kicked him out of my city, and now I love him so much. Paul Maurice is my dog, all right? He is my dog. So I trust him. But look, that's my biggest concern tonight, is not being able to match up with McDavid. But I think tonight's going to be one of the best nights of my life. I'm so excited.
Dan, earlier you said that in '96 they went through two guys that are McDavid in Jaromir Jagr and Mario Lemieux, two of the all-time greats. They have another McDavid on their team. Draisaitl, he's been fairly quiet, not recently, and his biggest impact in the series has been that dirty hit that he had on Barkov. But they have two of the top 5 players in the world. This is a really good team, and because McDavid is that good, the Draisaitl thing is not really a storyline. They have the two best players in this series, and everybody else, like Florida, just throws waves upon waves of depth, and that depth, things like the fourth line decision, taking out Lorentz, taking out Oposo, that's going to matter tonight.
That depth is why, empirically, they're the best third period team in the league. The thing that I want to ask you guys, because it's the best third period team in the league, is something that continually wears you down over the course of the game, so that by the end, the way that you want to knock off Lemieux and Jagr is it's too much. There are too many waves. It's too much of it. The thing that I want to ask you about Paul Maurice is this. I have seen over the last 2 years something that I did not think was possible, okay? Barkov, in whatever it is that they were doing before 2 years ago, was a source of great frustration for everyone in the fan base. And then this style comes here, built around everything he does, and now it's best two-way player in the world, where I heard all the muttering complaints about this player for a really long time. And when I don't know the sport well enough to know how much Paul Maurice has to do with that, but I extend from that, you guys trust this guy like you trust Spo. You guys trust that this person will make the right decisions. You might have quibbles with where he's putting Montour every once in a while, but generally speaking, you're extending your trust to this human being as being smarter than you and trusting him implicitly.
Zaz, he's also never done it. Like, when you look back, he's coached among the all-time leaders in games coached. He's also among the all-time leaders in losses. Yep. Like, he's never done it, ever.
He's gotten close.
The face of joy. The face of joy has now taken 4 flights and landed in Edmonton. Roy Bellamy, who starred on Zaslow's show. Zaz, tell the people where they can find you so they know.
Thank you.
How they can
Zaslow
get
Show
more
2.0.
Zaslow.
Yeah, Zaslow Show 2.0. Wherever you get your podcasts, I can list all the places, but I'll be sitting here forever. So wherever you get your podcast, Zaslow Show 2.0 every day. I love you a long time.
Roy was there with you yesterday.
Yeah.
And he brought the charisma. I'm told he smiled more than he usually does around here. He is not smiling right now. Roy, how bad was the flight and how bad is your breath right now?
I brushed my teeth. My breath is fine. The flight was much, much better than it was flying to Edmonton the first time. I tell you that right now. It was 11 hours plus a 3-hour drive. So, yeah, the flight was good. The drive was so-so.
And how are you feeling about things? We've got a lot of tension here back in the studio since you left. I think you might be enraged with Greg Cody right now as well. Mike Ryan has called him an idiot twice. What are your general feelings about Greg Cody right now?
He's doing it for clicks, and I'm not happy about it, Dan. He's embarrassed us as a fan base. He's embarrassed us as a journalistic entity. So, yeah, I'm not happy with Greg Cody right now.
Okay. Us.
Thanks.
Who do you mean by us, Roy?
I'm here right now, aren't I, Greg?
Yeah. So by us, though, do you mean fellow Panthers fans?
Let's be careful with anything.
No, I'm just curious what he means.
By you people, he means Panthers fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just making that clear.
On both ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All
Roy
right.
speaking to
that was cutting.
Roy speaking to what's bothered me up there. Like top 2 things that's bothered me about this is this should be a moment of arrival and a moment of legitimacy.
And it might still be.
Well, it may be.
It will be.
Well, there's a nice little guarantee right there from Dan, but I think we've made this a circus. I'm not happy with my actions today because this is taking attention away from what should be, if this team does it, talked about as one of the greatest teams in the 21st century. Whoever wins this series is going to be stacked up with the Penguins and the Blackhawks. What the Panthers have
overcoming this group of teams this postseason is a monster run.
It's not just the postseason. It's the regular season too, and how great everybody was. And for once in my life as a Panther fan, I felt like I was being taken seriously, and people were having to already cope once they went up 3-0 with the fact that this market has arrived. The ugly stepchild of the state of Florida when it comes to hockey has finally been here, and we're fighting amongst ourselves. We're trying to put up billboards before the thing's been done, and we've made an absolute circus of these things when all I wanted was what Zaslow gave me. All I wanted was talking about the quality of the ice and talking about Nick Cousins and his discipline. That's all I ever wanted out of this stuff. So you get to have your cake and eat it too, I guess, Dan, because you wanted more fireworks and you got them.
Not just that, though. Roy's Hockey Show, if you want some of the deep-in-the-weeds analysis of all the good stuff, he's been doing a great job with David Dwork, and he keeps flying out to Edmonton. But I want to get at this tension that there is specifically with newspaper guys and radio guys, because I've seen it for a long time in this market and elsewhere, and Greg does not respect radio, and Zaslow doesn't respect some of Greg's columns, and you just derisively hit Roy with, "You're not a journalist." You just did that to Roy.
Okay, I don't think Roy would call himself a journalist. Maybe he would.
I mean, Roy is going to have a plaque in that arena near.
What are we doing to each other? I don't like any of this. You guys are
genuinely
fighting.
hate
You're
it
going at Roy now, all because you said something stupid.
I'm not going at Roy.
Just admit you said something stupid.
I love Roy.
I said I had Roy on my show yesterday, and your response was, "That's a good get."
And it was a good get.
Are you gonna now? You're gonna attack Roy. You're just gonna keep going at everybody,
attacking Roy,
and just
Roy's
not admit that you
blossoming.
said something stupid.
Roy's had such great content over these last few weeks. It's among the best work he's ever done.
I really like Roy.
Roy, can I ask you one quick question though? Roy, are you there? You've traveled to. Is this the 4th game that you've traveled to this postseason?
Yes, it is. This
What is your
postseason,
record?
It is number 4.
What is your record?
Oh, it's an important question. Very important.
Currently 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Which one did you win?
Game 1 in New York, I believe.
The Rangers game 5. Yeah.
Oh
game
my
5.
God.
All right,
the
thank God.
Panthers are doomed.
Thank God.
If Roy is 1 and 2 on the road, it's a jinx. It means the Panthers are doomed. Roy, get the hell out of there. Fly back. Save the Panthers.
Or it could mean a split.
That's right. That you
You ever
become
thought about
2-2, and you're holding up the trophy, and you're in Edmonton.
2-2 is a good road record in the playoffs.
It is.
I do not want to cope with that, Roy, and that is a long flight. And for you, it's probably 3 connections. I don't even want to consider what our lives would look like if they lose this game, and everybody in North America will be saying this series is essentially over, and this market would have to endure a second straight year of having a team in the summer blow a 3-0 lead. The odds of that have to be astronomical.
You always, Dad, go at it with Mike. Are you seeing yourself in the mirror now? You went at it with Roy. Like, can you take a step back? If Roy's attacking you for this take, can you see it now that maybe it was a dumb thing to say?
Roy is a Panthers fan, which disqualifies him from being considered a neutral journalist.
He's going to have his picture up in the press box. He covers Dad.
I know,
He's covered more Panthers games
He's a
in
legend.
the last month
He's a hockey
than
legend.
you have
Local
your
hockey
entire
legend.
career.
That's not true. I have been.
Tell him, Hawk.
I have been behind the scenes campaigning for Roy Bellamy to be added to the Wall of Fame.
I've never
in
heard
that
that
press box.
I've never heard that.
I have.
No, you're making
I've been
that
there.
up.
No,
I've never heard
You've
that.
made that up. I'm going to start.
No,
I'm going to ask
never heard
Jameson.
that.
I didn't make that up.
Roy is a legend, and
Yes, he is.
You're
He's
just,
also a Panthers fan.
Well, can we get Roy's analysis?
So are
then?
you then, by that math?
You're not a Panther fan,
You're
dude.
rooting for
You're a
them
Panther
too.
fan. You're supposed to be a champion for this market. You've
I
always
am-
been like the fan
you're a
columnist.
homer. You're
I
a
am a-
Dolphin
look,
fan.
Look, boxing Roy out, and I feel bad about it.
Okay, let's go to Roy. I agree.
What are we going to Roy on?
The game, the biggest game of our lives.
Where is Roy?
I
There
want
he
to know
is.
what, he covers the team. David Dwork covers the team. I want to know what the vibes are. I want to know if this team that has never been this close, if I can read into the fact that they've lost the 2 games, and they've lost the 2 games on aggregate by a lot, not by a little. I want to know if what we saw through the regular season is going to play itself out, or if that Edmonton team is too good and they figured something out. Roy, talk me off the ledge, pal. That's the nicest pal I've delivered today.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I found it interesting that Brandon Montour is not going to be on the power play line number 1, considering that was his turnover that led to Connor Brown's breakaway goal shorthanded. So he's not going to be on that line. So I found that pretty interesting. And, of course, the lineup changed for the 4th line. Paul Maurice is making changes right now to his lineup, and he's trying to match up with the Oilers. And the Oilers still don't have Evander Kane. So that's going to be an interesting match.
Just cut to it. Are they going to win tonight, Roy? Come on.
Can you tell them to start Evander Kane?
I can't do that.
The series turned when Evander Kane was
believe
just like,
they
I can't
will
do it
win.
anymore.
Wait, you just
that's what things flipped.
You stepped on Roy saying the very strong, not quite a guarantee of yes, I believe they will win. Just sort of farted out of the side of his mouth.
Do you think we're going to win?
Say it some with bass in your
Yes.
voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There it is. Roy, can you give me with some bass in your voice the best and most positive of analysis that you would put together because you actually believe in this team? I was saying before you came on here that historically, if you are the best group of players, the best team that goes up 3-0, there is no coming back from that, even if you have Connor McDavid. So explain to us in your bassiest tone why it is that the Panthers will win tonight.
Well, I believe they will stay disciplined tonight. They will limit their penalties tonight, and the defense is going to come back and help Bob in this game. So that's why I believe the Panthers will win.
There it is.
It's gonna
Said
be
it all.
the defense,
He did.
the forechecking,
Said
and
it all.
lack of penalties.
There it is.
Classic
Ladies
fan.
and gentlemen, we sent him to Edmonton for that report. Not quite a guarantee, but the vibes are positive, and Roy is
Keep up
positive.
the good work, Roy. You're doing well.
Yes, Roy. Where can people find you after the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers hold up the trophy tonight? Where can people find you and David Dwork immediately? I'm assuming that sometimes on a Friday that tonight would be one of the nights where people can find you after the game.
Well, we have the hockey show that is today, that's going to air today. That's leading up to tonight's game. And then we got the post-game show, which will hopefully be uploaded sometime within the next week.
In the next week?
Maybe.
Maybe in the next week. Well, tonight would be a night to capitalize.
Maybe. Who knows?
Okay, very good.
Who knows? He can't predict it.
I want to give the people a little palate cleanser here to separate us from the tension here. Like it's sort of audio sage. I want Chris Mad Dog Russo mispronouncing something. Do you have anywhere back there, Mad Dog Russo, trying to pronounce Condoleezza Rice?
The 4 or 5 things that I picked up that were interesting that I relate to you. Number one, Condoleezza Rice, formerly of the Bush administration.
Thank you. I need a little sorbet here. I need something just to soften the mood. Zaslow has left in true disgust. He just stormed out of here. He hit the microphone as he left, like he punched the microphone as he left, and he took the chair with him, I'm assuming, to just throw it into the bay. He's had enough of Greg Cody. Greg Cody's been giggling to himself here while coughing and giggling. You've been giggling throughout the break. Are you okay? Like, what's happening?
Everything is great. I'm reveling in...
You have bronchitis.
Yeah, no, I don't feel great, but everything else is great. It's another day in paradise down here. And I'm reveling in the idea that I am having renewed appreciation for my perspective, for how I see sports in the overall. And I don't want to be Zaslow and Mike Ryan about any team. I just don't want to be. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not rooting for the best story that I want to write. And in this case, that is a Panthers Stanley Cup.
But that's you rooting, because the best story, I could admit this as a Panthers fan, the best story for hockey would be McDavid coming back from down 3-0.
Right, but I'm not a national hockey writer. I'm a Miami Herald columnist. And I'm not a fan of a team. I'm a fan of people who read my columns, okay? And the column they want to read is not biggest collapse since 1942. The column they want to read is what a feel-good story. Slaying the dragon to lift the first Stanley Cup in the 30-season history of this franchise. That's what I want to write, because I like to write good stories. And so am I a Panthers fan? No. And I think I proved it by not being afraid of superstition and jinx and avoiding writing what I thought about McDavid, which is that he needs to win a Stanley Cup to live up to all this hype, and until he does, he's overrated. I still believe that, and I don't care if I'm alone on that island. But I do prefer to write a Panthers Stanley Cup winning column.
What's happening with you? Because during the break, you seem to stand in judgment of people who are not journalists like you. You were dismissive of Roy and Mike and Chris as fans. They're fans. They're not journalists. That's what you were doing.
Okay, and I think I owe an apology to Roy. I think Roy would consider himself a journalist. Roy is not somebody wearing a Panthers jersey in the press box. I have respect for Roy as an independent journalist. Christopher's not. Zaslow, who was wearing a Sam Bennett shirt in here, is not and doesn't pretend to be. Mike obviously is not and doesn't pretend to be. That's fine. But, I like the perspective of being able to see
Jeremy
sports
pretends
in
to
its
be.
place.
Jeremy,
I do.
Jeremy pretends to be a journalist.
I do pretend to be a journalist.
Is Jeremy a journalist, Dad?
It's complicated, right?
No,
It
Jeremy,
is
I asked my dad.
complicated. Look, he's paid to cover the Heat, right?
I am, and technically the Panthers and the Marlins.
Okay, if you are paid to cover those teams...
You don't want to call him a journalist, though.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you're paid to cover those teams, you're paid to be pro those teams, right? It doesn't mean you can...
Covering
Jeremy,
them for the regional broadcast, you're saying. Like covering them for Bally
Right.
Sports, where it is the home broadcast and that crew.
Right.
Yeah, we are paid to have a bit of a slant toward the team that we're covering.
Exactly.
Just as, by the way, you are in your columns to an extent.
You're rooting for the Panthers to win tonight because it supports a positive column.
Right.
You're saying Jeremy's not a journalist?
I'm saying... I wrote a column saying the Panthers need to make big change, or the Heat need to make big changes because you're never going to win a championship if Jimmy Butler is your best player.
Jeremy can't do that.
He would not be able to
I wouldn't
say
do that because it's wrong, but
Okay,
that's a separate conversation.
Fine. And I'm not saying all of my opinions are right, but I wrote that. You're
You're saying he can't be critical of the team, therefore he can't be a journalist. He's not as objective as you are, who's been a homer about the Dolphins since 1972.
You get to be a journalist and a fan. You're like, I can be a journalist, but I want all the teams to win down here.
I have not been a homer about the Dolphins.
Oh my! Can we stop this? I don't.
Okay, no. That.
What are we doing right now?
That's a little too close to the bone. I get as much email criticizing me for being too rough on the Dolphins. So I'm not gonna just let that slide.
This is what I will say to the audience, because there has been a disconnect from the Panthers fans in this room and in this town about what this show's responsibility is to this audience, because we've been a local show for 20 years, proudly a local show for 20 years. I'm a journalist, or was a journalist, allegedly at the middle of all of that, but this show had a regional identity and was projecting Miami to the nation at large. And now, as we do it with one of the biggest podcasts in the history of sports podcasts, as we do it, I'm getting a whole lot of audience that's siding with Greg Cody in this last hour of tension, that doesn't like the way the whole room has ganged up on Greg Cody. People are taking Greg Cody's side because they believe this show is acting inconsistently and hypocritically as it usually behaves around sports, which is, if a team was in danger of losing a 3-0 lead anywhere in sports, the rest of us would be laughing with echoing laughter if this was happening to any fan base except this one. But in this particular case, we've got Mike calling Greg Cody an idiot twice and a pal 3 times because he's in the tank for the Panthers. And Greg Cody, the audience is siding with Greg Cody, saying, well, he's at least trying to be some semblance of not a rational fan.
The funny part is that last year you guys laughed in my face as the Heat were blowing a 3-0 lead, because I was painted as the sole homer, despite the fact that everybody in this room are actively fans of the Miami Heat. It was funny because, hey, let's laugh at Jeremy as this is blown. Now this room is sort of taking the other side, because there's a passionate fandom that's here. This is a group of people who are rooting for something to happen that's never happened to them before. And so as there are things that we all do as fans that, play into jinxes or things like that, we're not exactly excited on the local side of it to be having the show that represents South Florida sort of turn against some of those things and laugh because, hey, nationally, that would be happening.
But look at Mike. Mike is in the back there, and I don't know if he's in a state of pouting. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how close he is to quitting. I don't know how close he is to getting fired. All of this gets fixed if the Panthers win. His mood, but it makes sense that he would be scared. And it would make sense that he's lashing out everywhere he can lash out, because it's scary time. Like, if you care this much and that guy is on the other side and you're going to Edmonton, it's scary time.
Yeah. So realize that it's a hard time for us right now. We're all acting emotional right now.
What happened is I've obviously been too much today. I'm not exactly proud of how the show's gone, and I'm literally just putting myself in a proverbial penalty box because I don't like it, and I feel like I got played. Like Dan pulled all the right strings. He got the entertainment.
Again with me?
No, it's not. Greg is not the bad guy. He's not. He's not, and you've successfully pulled the wool over his eyes. So he feels like you're an ally in this just because
I am an ally.
The proximity of the rooms. No, like this is all you're doing.
I am an ally, but I'm not going to accept what you keep doing to me. Okay, so the last time you were at a Panther game, Game 5, and you got your heart crushed and you're down 4-2, you keep texting me from the game. Hey, I got a lot of fans here, just passing along the message. Just want to be a messenger. A lot of fans here saying, "Hey, Le Batard, fuck you." That's Mike Ryan telling me that all the fans are coming up to him and saying that. Last night I'm at dinner. Guy comes up to me, pulls me by the arm, and says, "No, Dan, you're right. I love your show. You tell Mike Ryan, fuck you."
Cool. Yeah. Congrats on having the star fucker, Dan.
Those fuck yous cancel out, though.
Do they?
You had multiple?
No, he got 6 of them.
I had a half dozen.
He got
I had a half
6
dozen.
but
And some dude that happened to be in the same restaurant as Dan is like, "Hey, I'm a big fan. I like you."
No, he went out of his way to be like, send this to Mike Ryan. He asked that I personally deliver the message, so I really am just the messenger here.
You know what I'm most frustrated about? Because if they lose this game, I'm going to have
Monday.
Not just a horrible weekend, but I'm going to have to spend a lot of money. Because tickets are sold out on the primary market, and I only have one place to turn to, Dan, the Game Time app. The Game Time app, which Honestly, there should be a loyalty rewards program for how much I've been on there throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers on Sunday. Thanks so much, Game Time app. That could be a very depressing one, and I could really read into the lyrics of Under the Bridge. Or we can just talk about California the entire time celebrating a title. Your move, Florida Panthers, today. But if you're in the Edmonton area, or if you're hoping for a Game 7 just so you can witness someone lift the cup, go to the Game Time app, download it, create an account, use the code DAN, that is DAN, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. You get to see what your seat looks like from there, and amazing customer service. If you, for whatever reason, find a better deal out there on the market, Game Time will match it up to 110%, and it's easy to get them matching it. Thank you so much, Game Time, for your support.
In keeping with the guarantee that I am giving you that the Panthers will win this cup they deserve in a sport that this year was magnificent because of how good all the teams were slaying each other. The Panthers will win the title one of the next 2 games in overtime. I'm sorry to do that to you.
Jesus.
I'm sorry to do that to you, but these games are going to be... Look, Messier said before Game 5, he's like, you're going to see the single best performance at the same time from both of these teams for the first time. And we did. The Panthers started slow, but you saw at the end they were battering Edmonton. You got the best of both, and that one McDavid won. I believe that the Panthers will win one of those 3 because you're looking at the next 2 games, and it's maximum effort, maximum motivation. It's not about any bulletin board material. All these broken bodies know what they had to overcome in that sport. The 10 teams, the dozen teams that had 100 points to get to this point earned it. They're broken physically. God knows how many needles these people have to take at this point in the year just to get on the ice because they're lunatics. This sport is run by crazy people. They're going to win the cup. You're just going to have to endure overtime. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that you're going to have to be shit running down your leg in overtime because of how fast that sport moves, and one thing can wreck you.
And then you're going to say, isn't this fun?
It is fun. It's the best.
The last week has been terrible. I genuinely, you got a text from me at 4:15 a.m. Just like Game 4. I could not sleep.
I didn't see it, actually.
I texted you. Look, timestamp, 4:15.
How
I
bad
crushed
was
a 5 a.m. German Peloton this morning because I needed to do something
Are
with
you
my...
okay?
My mind's racing. No, I'm not okay. Like, look, I got played by Dan. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I told him the entire time I did not want to go along with this, and here I am taking my Rolex off like I'm Ric fucking Flair.
So I texted Mike at 11, just left a restaurant where someone asked me to make sure to tell you no, fuck you. And then at 4:21 a.m., lost in all this is the fact that I've saved your ass. Can't imagine the shit you'd be getting if you actually put them up when you wanted to and the results went the way they have. I'm still tempted to do it, honestly. I'm not rooting for them to lose tonight, but to have the weekend to think about it, like I want to double down before Game 7.
He's the bad guy, Greg. Look what he's doing to you right now.
I believe
he
in
is
the team.
villain.
I believe in the team. I believe in the team.
He believes in anarchy. He believes in Dan Le Batard.
I believe in the team more than I believe in your jinx.
And making you the clown in his circus. Why can't you see this, dude? We all see it.
You don't have to tell me the role I play in this studio and his hand in it, okay? My Greg Cody Show merch store is not selling McOverrated T-shirts and capitalizing on it.
They won the next 3 games after we did that. That can't be blamed as a jinx. They went up 3-0.
Hold on, let my boy look. He's trying to stop you because you're getting there on your own, Greg. You're getting there on your own. Your shop didn't try to sell it. Your shop didn't try to capitalize on your take, which the hockey media's poked holes in, which is fine. Whatever, you've defended yourself, but you're not trying to monetize it. He is. Okay. He's the one trying to put your face on billboards, not you. What is your opinion? What is your honest opinion of these billboards? What is your honest opinion?
My honest opinion is that they should not be put up until the Panthers win the Stanley Cup.
Same. That's where my passion comes.
I said that last Tuesday,
and he's not listening to you. Bud.
No, because the national audience wants me to put him up.
It's his show.
The national audience wants me to put them up.
But South Florida, and why people are telling me to relay FUs to you is you've never done this. You've never made us a joke. It's not just like the jinxing stuff. Is you're actively trying to embarrass people that like this franchise.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I am not.
Because you cannot. Okay.
I'm okay with taking us being the subject of the joke. Egg on the face.
Tell me
Where does that
this is coming together for you like the end of a Saw movie, Greg. Like he's no, I'm not. We're laying out a pretty good case.
We risk the maximum thing. Me enduring, echoing national laughter that stays with me locally for years.
And no, what we risk
but I believe
is-
in the team.
what we
I'm
risk-
willing to make the bet on behalf of the team.
No, what we risk is you putting up billboards before Game 3, and in oil country.
I believe in them more than you do.
We're in oil country where the airport welcomes you with at baggage claim. It's just a myriad of like mannequin Oilers. Like what you risk is pissing off the entire fan base, the entire Edmonton Oiler organization, pissing off hockey for saying, like, how dare you do this? This is so classless. You make that barn an insane asylum tonight. Like I don't need to explain this.
I can't do it today. It would have to wait till the weekend. I can't do it today. It has to wait.
This is the best my tone has been. I think I laid out a good case. I think we're all effectively being played by Dan Le Batard, and he's a true villain.
That barn is going to be an insane asylum with or without billboards.
Everyone's calling it a barn now. I love it.
I mean, come on now. You know, Connor McDavid is going to be great with or without being called McOverrated.
Does it help?
It doesn't help. I'm going to move off of this subject for a moment, but ask you, what does the phrase egg on the face, why do people get egg on the face? Because I don't know the origins of that. Obviously, someone would be throwing eggs for some reason. I don't know if it's at a Renaissance fair or where. But the bet that I'd be making, Mike, is maximum stakes. It is an inside joke for our audience. That believes in the team. You say it's not that. I'm believing in the team over jinx. I'm believing in how good they are, and it does risk that team losing. It does risk my belief being betrayed in a way that embarrasses me and lasts for a while and stings. But at the moment, I've got 2 games to win 1, and I've got the better team.
Okay. I mean, I think most people know what's happening here, and he can rationalize it all he wants. He's good with words. He's manipulated Greg.
As your resident theater guy, just off the top of my head, I believe this dates back to the late 1800s, early 1900s in theater when people were throwing rotten vegetables or eggs at performers, and so you ended up with egg on your face.
All right.
I'd rather have
just
rotten
off the top of my head.
I'd rather have rotten vegetables than egg thrown at me, personally.
Not me.
At least the egg shatters.
A zucchini would hurt, right?
But it's like,
yeah, it's right. It's still
rotten,
solid.
though. Like I feel like if it's rotten, it's softened a little.
It is softened.
Softened, but
the
still
egg is just
a solid
like,
object.
It's yucky. It's gonna hurt.
If it's a rotten avocado, it's going to be pretty soft.
But there's a pit.
Yeah, but it's got a pit in it.
Yeah,
right?
but you're not gonna feel the pit.
Oh,
You'll
I think
feel
you
the
would if it's soft.
What would be the vegetable, the rotten vegetable that is? Well, the egg's not a vegetable, so it's rotten eggs. It's rotten eggs and rotten vegetables. The eggs are thrown in as a protein. Because
you guys are falling for it.
Yeah, I mean, you need a
you guys are
well-balanced
falling for it.
meal.
Etymology is the #1 diversionary tactic from Dan Le Batard. He's playing you like a harp from hell, and you're just going along with it, man.
It's a riveting conversation.
Etymology. Ooh, what is the origin of that? That's a great point.
You know what? You know what? I have another one of those tools in my bag that is less easy to spot. But can you play that music real quick in terms of a diversionary technique that I use at all times to get out of all situations? Because I just think we've talked about this enough. It's not because I actually want to avoid it. Because honest to God, I would do this pregame show for the next several hours. Like, I'd be happy to just sit here talking to you guys about this game for many hours. But I do have another diversionary technique. Play for me, please, the sound of the sports media gas bags that nobody wants to hear me talk about the sports media, because there's a sports media story that is just breaking now that I do believe is super interesting.
Do you get annoyed every time Dan Le Batard pontificates about the sports media industry? Well, too bad, motherfucker. He knows he don't give a damn about what he's gonna say. It's time for sports media talk today.
So I have told you, and Juju has reprimanded me on this because he has said, man, Dan, nobody wants to hear about how much money media people are making. A lot of people are struggling out there. They don't want to hear about Stephen A. Smith's contract demands. But I happen to find interesting that in our time, the person who is at the top of our profession is now being offered, reportedly at ESPN, the highest salary in the history of the company for a talent. It used to be for John Gruden at $6.5 million, but the explosion of everything that's happened has made everyone realize, oh, all these talent are super undervalued, even though everyone listening to this would say it's ridiculous for anybody to be making the kind of money doing this nonsense that people can make. ESPN has offered Stephen A. Smith the highest contract in the history of the company, putting him ahead of Joe Buck, who is now the highest paid employee, who doesn't have to do as much as Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith is reportedly countering with, that's not enough. $18 million is not enough. I want $25 million. That's what's being reported. $25 million a year. And power, by the way. It's not going to just be money. He's going to want power and a bunch of other things because he is the modern-day Howard Cosell, whether you like it or not. And beyond sports, he's got conquering ambitions because he is casting a wide net going on Fox, making sure the audience is as large as it can be as he heads into the leverage of negotiations because he can do this for more than $18 million a year on his own. He doesn't need ESPN. You know how I know that? Chris Cody's worth $25 million a year. Like what we've been paid the last 3 years.
A lot more work that goes into it.
and the fourth one, like our thing is worth what Stephen A. Smith is asking for. So
I think he deserves it.
It's a ridiculous thing to say.
It is because he's the entirety of that network. Their entire daytime programming strategy is around him. This is you're right. This is another one of your diversionary tactics. But game on.
I got you.
Yeah, you got me.
I got you.
But he is the straw that stirs their drink. He sets a table for all the rights that they have, unless it's the Stanley Cup. So what I would do if I'm ESPN is I would pay him $10 million for every sport he can actually cover, because the daytime programming on a game that they have, their coverage was Mike Greenberg asking Udonis Haslem what he thought about tonight. This country is headed in to a World Cup in 2026. What the fuck do you think is going to be happening on that show? Let me. What do you think is going to be happening on that show? Because it's more likely to be Dak Prescott than it is to be about the World Cup. That show is limited. It is very limited, and it does what it's limited at exceptionally well. The greatest daytime sports show ever, because he is the greatest sports talent ever. But it is very frustrating. And it works against ESPN's overall best interest. I understand college football makes a lot of money. I understand pro football makes a lot of money. I understand the NBA makes a lot of money. And they haven't exactly figured out how to make a lot of money elsewhere, except just putting the game on. But they should take a note from what's worked well with Stephen A. Smith. If you have engaging, great, talented personalities that can speak with a wealth of knowledge, they can get you interested in games. They can get you interested to watch that. ESPN is wonderful at producing these packages that'll make you care about stuff. They do it every college game day. I just wish that they weren't just a two-note entity.
ESPN is an excellent sports partner for the reasons that Mike Ryan is stating, that all day long there are infomercials with credible personalities just getting you to the next games and increasing your addiction to all of the things. But Mike is also right in his criticism that those morning shows have been abysmal covering hockey because the people on those shows don't know what they are talking about when it comes to – well, but what – has happened with hockey and the ratings with ESPN now engaged has been an explosion of people realizing how wonderful these playoffs actually are, because elsewhere on the network, they are better partners to hockey than they are to baseball by a lot. The baseball people are dying at ESPN because they clearly do not care about the sport, but they care about hockey more and believe in the future of hockey more and spend as if they believe in the future of hockey more. But the morning shows aren't equipped to talk about this well.
Pat McAfee is equipped, and you're seeing, I genuinely think that the rise in interest in hockey, which is up 61% over the entire continent here over last year, which is a different series and whatnot, and it was cable television. But it is up, and I think that is really because of visibility, because guys are going on main ESPN, because Barstool Sports is aggregating, because shows like ours, because of our platform, and because of what's happening locally, is you're seeing an increase in the base, and they can do that. Pat showed you what he can do with the NHL. Stephen A shows you what he can do with the NFL and Dak Prescott and all that.
The NBA.
The NBA, certainly, even though that's kind of leveling off, but they're going to get a ton of money. I just wish they did it for the other sports, because sports are great. Look what sports has done to us. This, if we win, will be remembered as a great time in our lives, or the worst.
If you're just joining us, you have missed Mike Ryan calling Greg Cody an idiot twice, Greg Cody pal 3 times, and also you've missed Greg Cody come pretty close to saying Dan Marino is overrated and that Jeremy Teche isn't a journalist. It's been an eventful morning. It's been aggressive. The Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody.
We're all in a bad place.
Man. Is wait till there's a game 7.
No, Dan, stop. Dan,
Well, they might win They might win in overtime tonight, so you don't have to worry about it. You guys will have a good weekend, and you can stop worrying about everything. Even though I think the worry is what makes it so goddamn great.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really does. It makes it more special. But some people don't agree with that. Zaslow did leave in genuine disgust. He's going to be on ESPN Radio at noon. If you got, I don't know if he's got any more for Greg Cody. He might have some more for Greg Cody. He'll be on ESPN Radio at noon. Greg, how do you think all of that went with Zaslow? His disgust and his disdain are legitimate. He has been, for many years, texting me when you've written some column that says the Marlins should get Ohtani. He always sends me those columns that have a headline of yours that's a little bit obvious. How was your time with Zaslow? What is your general appraisal of how things have gone here today?
I don't have a problem with Zaslow because he's not pretending what he is or isn't. He was wearing a Sam Bennett shirt. He's obviously a Homer Panthers fan, and that's fine. He's respectful of me. He's never called me an idiot to my face. I have no problem with Zaslow.
I don't know what you're doing with this dismissive, like, fan thing right now. Like, I get what you're doing. You're trying to, I'm a journalist. You all are fans.
There isn't I'm better than you in the
100%.
journalism. But you've seen how Stephen A walks into the arena, right? Like, given that
Well, he's not a journalist.
The journalist often thinks he or she is better than the fan. Correct.
And holding up one of the dumbest hockey takes in a long time is
Right.
it's just a rich juxtaposition of like looking down at fans while giving that take.
Okay, my own son doesn't know it, and so I'm going to remind him. Me saying Connor McDavid is overrated was predicated 100% on the fact that he's never won a Stanley Cup. If the unthinkable happens and he's the one raising the Stanley Cup, he will have caught up in his 9th year to expectations and hype. Okay?
One of the reasons, though, I would argue that one of the many reasons I would argue that is not the greatest of takes is that Connor McDavid will be no better of a player if he loses tonight than if he wins the next 2 games.
That's a Stugotz take to say, hey, he's overrated, show me your rings in a box.
Okay.
But you as a journalist, Greg, should be able to dive deeper into what Connor McDavid is able to do on the ice and have that impact regardless of his team's success.
If he scores 6 goals tonight and loses 7-6, he will be no less of a player because he did not win the championship.
Sure. And Dan Marino is no less of a player because he never won a Super Bowl. That's not the way history judges sports.
But
and athletes.
journalists should help us untangle the nuance in history. That's their job. It's fans who don't do that.
I believe
he's explaining to you how to be a journalist, Greg.
I understand.
Falling into his trap. Come on, man.
I understand that.
He's right there, right in front of your eyes.
Look, that's a very good point. Dan Le Batard used to be a journalist. He's not anymore.
He's a professional yodeler now.
That's right. Now you distracted me. Oh, no. I believe in the macro of that historical weight given to championships. I believe in it.
But you don't disagree with my assessment that I just said. You do understand how silly it is to say that McDavid is overrated if he scores 6 goals tonight, loses 7-6, and therefore does not have a championship.
Okay. No, I still stand by my opinion.
The challenge tonight we should issue as a South Florida show. We've talked plenty of McDavid. The challenge is for who PK Subban said is the best defensive forward in the league, a guy that should have the Selke Award to himself for the next 8 years or so. Sasha Barkov, the captain that has been throughout this, he's been here throughout this entire identity crisis of this franchise. That is the challenge. It is clear to novice hockey fans how good 97 is, to how special he is, the attributes in skating that you've never seen before in your entire life. The challenge is on the best defensive forward going right now to stop that. The challenge is on Gustav Forsling, who's the greatest waiver claim in the history of the sport. Let me say that again. Gustav Forsling, greatest waiver claim in the history of the sport, and I don't think it's particularly close. Went from stop to stop. People quit on him. He finds his way here, develops himself into the plus-minus points leader in the league with one of the best plus-minuses in the history of the NHL. The league's been around for a long time. They have an opportunity to do something that no opposing team has ever done in Edmonton, and that's lift Lord Stanley. The Oilers have only been in the NHL since 1980. Since then, they are tied for the most Stanley Cup championships. This is the Boston Celtics of our lifetimes in that sport. They had 99. They had the greatest player. They traded him. They won another. They've been on hard times just like we have. It's to go in that insane asylum today, made even more crazy by coverage and calling out players and the fact that they were down, written off, left for dead 3-0. They're going to be insane. But I've also watched that team plenty. And if you score first, that building gets the entire air taken out of it. And that is a monumental challenge, and that is what journalists will be writing their articles about. But for as great as 97 is, Sasha Barkov needs to meet it.
You say that, and I would stop you on this, and I would say I'm good with Barkov and McDavid playing to a push on wherever it is that greatness resides, and I would like Reinhard to score a goal in front of the net or Verhaeghe to do something, or the waves of Panthers that I have watched over the course of this season win the game in the third period because Barkov has played McDavid to a tie, or Barkov has played McDavid to I'm a little less good than you because you're an immortal, and it's okay that I'm a little less good than you. Let let me show you my 9 other friends here. I'm the captain of this team. We traded for some of these because we were playing a different kind of hockey before, and I could use something from some of these other Panthers that have been a little quiet this series.
Matthew Tkachuk, welcome to the series. Amazing play, way to lead. That is the exact effort that we need tonight. Paul Maurice, there is so much on the line for him. He could be one of the sport's greatest losers. He could be one of the sport's greatest losers if he fails to win this cup.
It'll be remembered as such. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
if you lose.
1940, I told you yesterday, 1942, that's not a real year. Like, no one's ever actually come back from 3-0 down. And I got to live it back-to-back years?
Ted Williams left baseball.
Sports?
Ted Williams left baseball that year to become a fighter pilot. Do you know how, in a war, there was a world war going on.
I want to celebrate tonight with my friends that have been there throughout this entire journey. I want to throw alcohol all over the bar. I want to go to the Grove after. I want to have a pool party on Saturday. I want to sing Red Hot Chili Peppers at a concert on Sunday. I don't want to be here dressed like Sting, rationalizing throughout the entire weekend. Well, same pressure on us. We got one game on our home ice, and if I told you that before the series, you'd take it? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Anything could happen in a Game 7.
Now, they're both going to be playing tight.
Dumbest saying.
No, I don't want to be doing that. I've had my suffering. I've embarrassed myself on this show, and I'm done. Please, guys, I'm begging you. Rhino. I'm going to be wearing a Rhino, ski cap today because I'm a goof about this stuff. I need it in the worst way. Please, oh, please, oh, please. I'm desperate for this. Just make the effort, meet the moment, and I'm pretty sure this team will win. I hope.
Anything can happen in any game. Why do we only say that for Game 7?
Such a good point.
Such a dumb saying.
And they always say it's the 2 best words in sports. That'll be the worst 2 words.
Oh, God.
Unless you win. Then it's the best 2 words.
Well, there's no Game 7. There's no Game 7 if we win. Lord Stanley is the best 2 words in sports.
You guys know a Stanley Cup Final's never gone to overtime in a Game 7?
Put it on the poll.
Oh, my God. Why would you say that out loud?
At Le Batard
Take it back.
Show.
You don't believe in the jinx. That's okay. This isn't about jinx. We've amplified that. This is about credibility and the Panthers, the plight of the Panther fan, which is similar to the plight of the actual Florida Panther. We are few. They have written us off for dead.
Endangered.
We need this. We need this to actually ring eternal. We need this for credibility. I don't want to be a joke. I don't want to be remembered for this show. I hate it.
Best 2 words in sports, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Game 7 or Lord Stanley, because I think you're going to lose there. I think people are going to choose Game 7. I do want, though, to the people who were gathered tonight in Sunrise around the arena, in the arena, because it'll be full watching this. There is this wonderful region of South Florida that has cared about this franchise, this hockey team for a long time, and this is the best, obviously, that it has ever felt. What they're headed into tonight, though, I cannot overstate this part of it when Mike talks about the history of the Edmonton Oilers, okay? Canada cares deeply about hockey, and the Edmonton Oilers, as a franchise, played it better, more dynastically than anyone in the last 50 years. Now, I may have my time wrong on some of this stuff. I think I got some of the World War timing wrong on Ted Williams. But when Edmonton was great at hockey, Edmonton as a town became known throughout North America. Even as we headed into this series, there were plenty of South Floridians asking, where's Edmonton? Where do the Oilers play? Is it in Texas? Where's Edmonton? Oilers. Where are the Oilers? Edmonton is known. I don't even know what I'd say is second place on what do you associate Edmonton with. It's 80s hockey. What else? What is second place on what when the regional
80s hockey, Islanders and Oilers. That was the 80s.
When the regional identity stuff makes a play in sports, Edmonton as a region is going to be hellfire for its team tonight, because this stuff's been passed down from grandpappy.
Yeah.
Like this is what our town is.
We did 3 shows trying to find a singular Panther fan. You step out of your front door, it hits you in the face.
Every home in Edmonton has some sort of identity it links to this hockey team, because it's how that city gets shown to the world for 50 years, and they haven't won in hockey, and now they've got the best player, and they're on the cusp of coming back from down 3-0.
I just looked up, what is Edmonton known for? The West Edmonton Mall. So it turns out where both of these teams are from are known for malls, Sawgrass Mills and West Edmonton Mall.
Right.
Amazing.
Except here, what surrounds us is alligators and swamp. There, it's every child is a hockey fan from birth.
Yep, that's right.
Every single child from birth. Everybody who is in that building has had that put in the crib since a child. You're an Edmonton Oiler. That's who they got to take it from. That's why it's so cool. You got to go up there and you got to take it from the best player in the country that invented the sport and in a city that identifies with the sport. It's the hardest bleeping thing. And it's going to go to overtime.
Come on, boys.
And there's never been a Game 7 overtime in the history of the Stanley Cup. Stop it, says Mike. Stop it, as the shit runs down his leg.